RMJ Movie Reviews back again with the continuation of my Halloween series movie reviews. Guys, I'm like trying to be like one of the most gangster YouTubers in the world, because I will do my reviews on the fly wherever I have to do them to get them done. So, guys, bear with me. I'm doing the best I can, but, I just love movies and stuff so much that I just kind of just do it whenever, wherever, Eventually, when I become one of those more prestigious YouTubers who make money, which I make none, I'll do fancy sets and all that stuff. But right now, I just enjoy the conversation. So anyway, on to my movie review of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Like I said, I gave my thoughts about the other one, and how popular opinion, in my opinion, and this, how I felt about Rob Zombie's version, and how I felt about rewatching it again all these years later. Halloween 2, that was pretty much when my defense of Rob Zombie pretty much stopped. By this time, I was not working at a movie theater anymore. So this particular time, I had to pay for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And when I saw and one of the things about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I thought it came along entirely too quick. I just thought it came out too quickly. I think there should have been more time to develop the movie a little bit more. I just didn't think there was enough thought put into it, in my personal opinion. And, when I saw it, I did not like it. All these years later, I still don't like it. But I was horrified when I first saw it, and the movie still horrifies me. But I will say one thing about it. I like to give the comparison of Batman '89 and Batman Returns. I think this is the same case with Rob Zombie 2007 and Rob Zombie's 2009. If you look at Burton '89 Batman and Batman Returns, the first one was the studio's movie, and Batman Returns was all Burton. That's the case that you have here with Rob Zombie's 07 and then the 09 version. The 07 version was kind of a little bit his, but mostly studio driven. Halloween 2 is all Rob Zombie. He has total, complete control on this, creative control. I'm not even going to tell the story. Everybody's already seen it. Basically, Michael Myers returns again. Laurie is grieving over the death of a lot of her friends and her parents, and she's living with Sheriff Brackett, played by Brad Dourif, and his daughter Annie, played by Danielle Harris, again making another return to the Halloween series. And Dr. Loomis this time is not really so much really a part of the main action. This movie kind of more centers around just the aftermath of the havoc that Myers caused in the first movie on that night when he escaped. It's just a really whacked out movie, man. It's really quite crazy, and I give Rob Zombie credit for just going balls to the wall, totally insane. Because from the moment it starts, his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, is like coming back, Mrs. Voorhees style, speaking to Myers, and there's these images of like white horses, and there's all these bizarre like dream sequences with like skeletons with pumpkin heads and dead bodies on tables, and it's really whacked out, bizarre stuff. But I will say, it like in a freaky, bizarre way. Visually, it's stunning. I mean, visually, it's absolutely... I will say that's one thing I like about this movie. Visually, I think it's fantastic. I love the fact... One thing I didn't know, and I found this out from somebody else's channel who did a review on it too. I didn't realize that they shot this, I think 16 millimeter. I could be wrong, because I never actually learned about legit film. By the time I was in film school, it was the transition was going on by then, so they had already moved to digital. But I think it's 16 millimeter this film was shot in, and the way it just looks, it just really looks. It's extremely dark, extremely dark. The look of this film definitely has visual cues to things like The Crow with Brandon Lee, I'm trying to think of another film that aesthetically is this dark. I might be going a little bit too far, but maybe something like The Relic. The Relic from 1996, Tom Sizemore in the museum with the monster. Different in a dark way, but it's like that kind of darkness where like it's very hard to see. The colors are extremely muted, and I like that. And everything is very. Although in the first movie was really more dark in its filthiness and its unsavory tone. You still kind of. You had Dr. Loomis and you had Sheriff Brackett, and you kind of felt like maybe there was inklings, and I do mean very tiny inklings of hope. Here, this entire thing is just, I mean, I'd imagine that if I was a person who had some type of depressive disorder, the way Rob Zombie's world is in this movie, that's probably the way I would view the world in real life. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's very, very, it's just really, that's really all I could describe it as dark and, oh, excuse me, y'all. And also they didn't shoot this movie in Pasadena like they shot the previous remake. And they shot this one, I think, like they shot it somewhere down south. But just really, the landscape really looks a lot different. I kind of don't particularly like that they shot here instead of Pasadena. It has a very rural look to it. It doesn't look like a suburb. But again, this just fits with Rob Zombie's world he's trying to create in this movie, because he's really creating this nutty, nutty world where Michael Myers is going into strip clubs and bashing strippers' heads into the mirror like 5,500 times before they're dead. And, you know, he's body slamming the owners of the strip clubs out back and stepping on, I mean, literally squashes their brain into the ground with his foot. That's actually a pretty badass scene. It's hilarious, too. Myers doesn't really have his mask in this. He looks kind of like the way Rob Zombie dresses in interviews, and just with a really long beard. One thing I kind of do dig, the half mask with half eye out. I think that's kind of cool a little bit. But I think in this version that was unrated for DVD, he takes the mask completely off. And if I remember right, in the theatrical version, you didn't completely see his face all the way. You saw maybe a little bit of it, but not so much as you do here in this unrated version. I really think that's the thing that I will give it credit to, is that it's Rob Zombie's complete vision. He takes a lot of chances. Laurie in this movie just really, matter of fact, she looks like kind of like some girls that I might have dated early in my college career when I was like 21. I mean, you know, she's got the tramp stamp on her backside. She's like just doing it up, drinking, taking it to the head, smoking. I mean, she's just full on out Bushberry mode. I mean, she's just gone straight to the edge. Annie has kind of become introverted and they're getting into it all the time. I really like that dynamic, although one issue I take with the film is I don't think they should have brought the character of Annie back in this one. I think she should have stayed dead. And that was one of the problems I kind of had with the first one. I didn't like that scene in the 07 version with hair having blood on her and she's lying on the ground going, hey, and screaming. And it just looked gross to me. It just looked gross and I didn't like it. I don't know. And to bring her back, and then basically they do her death the same way again. And I will admit, I digressed a little bit, but I will admit that I do like the way, where are we at? 9 minutes. Where Annie's, when she first sees that Myers is watching her and they kind of slow it down in slow motion after he goes. Now, I do think that was pretty cool. Laurie coming in and seeing the aftermath of it all spliced together. That was kind of cool. But I didn't like that her death was exactly the same way as it was in the old version movie. Just her laying in a pool of blood. And I was just kind of like it was so drawn out and so agonizing. I was just kind of like, okay, I just didn't think it needed to be that much, or at least the same way. I mean, I was just thinking like, my God, I mean, why could he just come in and she'd be hanging from the bathroom and then she'd just be freaked out and leave or something like that? I mean, it just had to be the same way again. And I do like that scene too, where Brad Dourif comes in and he says to the guy, "Where is she?" And I was like, hey, like you really felt that, man. That was really good. And I think there's another scene too where and I like this actress. I don't know what anybody look up who this actress's name is. I think she's Laurie's friend, and she's got like the bleach blonde hair and it's the short hairdo, because I really like the scene where Laurie finds out that Myers is her brother and she's freaking out in the car. I don't particularly like the way she plays it, but I like the intent of that scene, and I like how she's telling her buddy at the little goth bookstore or whatever about, and I just really love how attentive that actress is to that scene. I really felt that actress, and that's one thing I will say about this version. I do think there's a lot of the acting in this one from the main cast and some of the supporting cast is it feels like a little bit deeper in this film to me, and I felt like the performances were a little bit more layered in this film, despite the fact that I don't enjoy the film itself. But I really like that scene in the bookstore, and she's in her, and I just really, the actress looked like she was really, somebody look up that actress's name, but I really like her. I was sad when she got killed in the movie, but I really liked it. I could tell that as an actress and as a performer, and in the scene, she was really listening to Taylor Scout Compton, I think is her name. She was really listening to her, and I love that scene. Malcolm McDowell, it was a big risk to make Dr. Loomis a flat-out a-hole in this movie. Big risk, but that goes along with the tone of this film. You know, they really wanted to change it up. And a fantastic scene in this is that Dr. Loomis is just basically exploiting the whole thing. Risky move. I'm a Halloween fanatic, so I wasn't the most crazy about that decision, but this is zombies full-on vision. So I rolled with it. And I do like that scene in the bookstore where the guy's just basically like, hey, look, you know, Dr. Loomis doesn't even acknowledge that that's Laurie's friend. He doesn't even realize that he's so caught up in his own thing. And the guy's like, yeah, this is my daughter who's killed by this monster. You're making money. That's a great scene. I love that scene. And there's one scene, I think, in the limo where I think he goes, excuse me, he goes, I'm an asshole. You know, it's just like, I met somebody in college like that who used to make that statement. Most people who say those kind of comments like that, that's usually a way for them to justify their ignorant behavior till somebody checks them. But big risk. And, you know, I do like that towards the end, Dr. Loomis tries to redeem himself. And one thing I'm still wasn't clear about in the film, I'm still not clear about in the film if I don't know, the illusions of the dead Myers in the barn, and is she there, is she not? I mean, it's really cool to play with the audience's mind. Towards the end, I wasn't really sure what it all meant. I just remember that I walked out the theater hating it, and I still don't like it, but there's a lot more things in this movie I can appreciate a lot more. I just appreciate that this movie's got monster size, they really took a lot of risks with this film. So the darkness, some of the performances are a little bit better, and it's got a viciously grim tone, which you know, and I like that when, like I said, when Michaels kills people in this movie, I mean it's ridiculously vicious, man. I mean, like what he did to that stripper in that one scene was just, and that's everybody's death in the entire film. So, you know, it creatively, I can respect it and appreciate it. It's just that, as a Halloween film, I don't particularly enjoy it. But I think this ultimately, I think this just showed that, you know, Rob Zombie needs to stick with just his own thing. Because, like, The Devil's Rejects, I think it's fantastic. I love The Devil's Rejects, and that's all Rob Zombie's vision. Anytime anybody interferes with Rob Zombie's vision, you know. But Devil's Rejects I like. I mean, I'm going to digress a little bit here, but Devil's Rejects I think is great. Lords of Salem, I didn't like, but there were some things in it that I thought were okay. 31, I just couldn't get on board with 31. But, you know, I watched the behind-the-scenes features on 31, and Rob Zombie I could just tell creatively he was just not in that. I just remember him saying in one of the interviews behind the scenes where he was just like, they were just like, well, how do you feel about the script? And he was like, I pretty much just don't care. he was like, I don't care if the script reflects the movie, because by the time we shoot it, it's not going to look like the script anyway, so I don't care. And I that's kind of how 31 kind of reflects. There's cool stuff in 31. You know, particularly that ending I like, that played I think is that Aerosmith's song, guys? I can't remember because I only seen it once. But when he basically breaks the rules of the killing game and he turns around and pulls the knives out and Sherry Moon Zombie just balls up her fist, that was fantastic. And I think Rob Zombie does that very good in his films, where sometimes he uses music and montages and it really accentuates the scene. So that's my short little commentary on Rob Zombie for that last little bit. And that was my review of Halloween 2, guys. Maybe there's something there that I might have missed, but you guys can leave your opinions on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Thumbs up to the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit the little bell, and let's just have a little discussion about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. RMJ Movie Reviews. I'll be back with you soon.